So what's your name?
Kevin Watts.
And why did you leave school?
I left school because it wasn't really for me. It was hard for me to keep going and going if I didn't feel like what I was doing there was important to me. I realize how important school is to everyone, but not everything they teach is exactly what I want to do in life.
Can you explain a little bit more?
About what I want to do in life, or
Like, what made you leave school, like, stuff like that?
that was it.
It was just because you didn't like what they were teaching?
Didn't like what they were teaching. A little. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to explain. Didn't like what they were teaching in school. Didn't like the times because we had to get in around 6 until like 4 at one school at one point. That was too much. Can't think of other things.
Well, what school did you go to?
The last school I went to was Tech Boston.
And, I mean, how did they structure the schools? Did they treat students, like, in a certain way that didn't make you feel comfortable? Did they, you know...
No. Teachers at Tech Boston were actually pretty great. One of my favorite teachers in my 10 years in going to school. Just because they were
Don't kick
so...
the table.
Just because they were so, like, laid back and, hey, you can, like, try to give you a bit more of what you want to do.
So, did the students ever bully people and teachers did nothing about it?
Not at that school, but around 3rd grade or so, that happened quite a bit. I was really young, though.
So, did you... Go ahead.
Alright. Do you feel... I'm not saying that. Do you feel you dropped out of school or was pushed out?
I feel like I left on my own accord. Didn't force me to go at all. It was more if I just went less and less and less and then just stopped going completely.
So, did teachers ever hit you up like, yeah, you missed like 4 days of school? Or did it just say, who cares? He's not in school no more?
Usually always worried when I missed more than a week because I had to make up excuses for going, like I was sick. But if you're sick that much, they start getting concerned.
Okay. So, really, the reason you left was just because you didn't like the classes? Or was there something else? I mean, I feel like it has to take more for someone to be like, I don't want to go to school.
For me, it was just general, like, school entirely. It's hard for me to sum up, like, nitpicky things about it because it was just the school entirely, like all schools, ever since day one of, like, 1st grade or kindergarten.
And what about it that, like, you don't like?
Like what bad things that happen in school? What unfair advantages that you've seen?
Not really. It's a hard interview, man.
Well, okay, so this interview, and we're trying to collect stories who feel like schools might have treated some students unfairly, or if you ever felt treated unfairly, or people might have been pushed out or not given a second chance. So, you know, do you feel like any of that experience ever happened to you?
No.
Okay.
How about your friends? That's hard.
I mean, in the other interview, what did you talk about?
Him being bullied?
But that was ages ago. It didn't bother when I hated school, though. I just always hated it before bullied, before meeting anyone, anything.
And the bullying happened when you were young?
Really young.
Okay. So, we should move on to... Just by, like, dropping out and just going into those questions.
So number 7?
Hold on, I have to see this.
Despite what happened to you, what have you been able to accomplish, and how has this school road affect you negatively and positively? Let's say that over again.
Yeah, that question was kind of unclear a bit.
Yeah.
Despite what happened to you, what have you accomplished?
Well, I'm on my road to getting my GED despite of leaving school. I still know a bunch of what they taught me that I remember, that was actually helpful to me, like the basics of math, biology, science, and yeah, I guess that's it then.
So, some people might say, okay, people who drop out, they're losers, whatever. Why should we bother? They're not going to be anything. What would you say to people who say that?
I would say that not everyone who drops out a loser or a drug dealer or like getting into mischief activities. Sometimes it's just not for them. Some people have responsibility to take care of. Maybe they have a kid early on. Maybe they need help out with the family bills, something like that. It's not always, oh, he's a dropout, he's got to go do some legal stuff.
So they're not, like, everyone who drops out is not just because they're bad people.
Yeah, of course not. Good people always end up in a bad situation. I mean, it just happens. This is how the world works.
Okay. So, go to the mistakes.
So, do you think that students shouldn't get a second chance if they make a mistake?
Of course, everyone deserves a second chance when it comes to school and education, because as people do certain things, they might not know what they're doing, they might know what they're doing and change their mind. They say, hey, this isn't really what I should be doing in life now that I see what it's really like to be doing what I'm actually doing right now, and go back to school.
And if you didn't have this program, like Youth Build, what things you think would happen right now? What things you think would happen in your future?
Probably nothing. I'd probably end up on the street just being a bum on the street begging for change. Because I really wasn't doing anything when I wasn't in school. I was just sitting home because I didn't like it.
You think we're good?
Okay. Let me just ask. So, have you seen, like, when people get suspended or just expelled quickly, do you feel like there's a alternative that schools could do before they just expel or suspend students?
An alternative to suspension. I don't know if there's a proper alternative to get the same effect of what they want suspension to have and expulsion, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. Simply because kicking someone out of school when they don't want to be there, that just encourages them not to go there anymore. Because they're going to get kicked out or feel like they're going to get kicked out anyway, so why just have them to get kicked out?
Okay. And when you decided to leave, was there anybody who tried to convince you to try to stay from the school?
Yeah, a bunch of my teachers. Actually was really close with all my teachers just because I like being around them, because they could teach me a lot more and I could ask them for help on things that I wanted to do personally. And they asked me, why aren't you showing up? Every day I wasn't there. Even though it got annoying after a while, but I know their heart was in the right place.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Anything else?
Anything else?
No.
Cool.